Hello and welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's doing well today. I dropped a video just was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. I had a little chit chat and well, actually just me chatting. Hope people enjoyed it, and I've had some positive feedback. So, anyways, today I've got another kit, and I'm going to do a full review and rating. But before that, there was a couple of things I wanted to talk about that are a little off topic, but have also been part of the channel, and that's some cooking stuff. So, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs. The first one is to Rick, that's R-I-K, at Backyard Chef. And he's a British fella, and he's awesome. He's just great. And so if you don't know about him, then check him out. Like I said, Backyard Chef, it's Rick, and good old traditional British recipes. But he's not afraid to make changes for stuff he likes, and he's the first one to say, "Do what you like." Yeah, do what you like. So, anyways, and then there's another fella who's only been around since July, but he's got I think over 4,000 subscribers already, 4,600 subscribers, and it's Dear Old Britain, and he talks about food from the the 60s and 70s and other times and other things about British food and that kind of thing. So he's definitely worth checking out as well. So anyways, yeah, and he runs some polls and some fun stuff like what's your favorite pub grub, from the 1970s or whatever, and what was your favorite, cafeteria meal at school? Whatever Sunday dinner. Just lots of fun stuff about food. And yeah, he's a good guy. So check him out. Okay, so kind of on that same note, actually, it was the fella at Dear Old Britain. I don't know his first name. I intend to watch a lot more of his videos. I hope I'll find that out. But we commented back and forth on one of his videos, and it brought this to mind for me. Talking about old recipes and things like that. And then I remembered that I had this cookbook compiled by Maud McDonald Chapter, IODE, Brantford, Ontario, Canada. And the IODE, they still exist, although, of course, it's very different than in 1927 when this cookbook was produced. I'm not going to get into the whole history and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a women's organization. It is still a women's organization. And, it was God, King, Country, and Empire. And so they were formed in 1911, I believe, in Canada. I'm sure other places in the Commonwealth had other iterations or versions of the same kind of thing. And excuse me. And they did the community stuff like that the ladies all used to do. Church picnics or other kinds of picnics, and their own home cooking, and they would raise money, and they would do things in the community and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, they were products of their time. Nobody's perfect. They were known to hold some pretty what today would be unacceptable views, but again, they were products of their time, and it's a bygone day for Canada, and I just wanted to just show a couple of things here. So there's some very interesting things. This was self-published, and it starts with beforehand, but it's spelled Betore. Beforehand, and it's two words. We thank you for buying our book. Twill teach you and guide you in learning to cook. How quaint. And then there's a little note here, underline sweet disposition. 3 grains common sense, 1 large heart, 1 good liver, plenty of fresh air and sunlight, 1 bushel of contentment, 1 good husband, I would add, or wife. Keep warm, but do not bring to a boil. Words of wisdom there. And then we get a little glossary of abbreviations. What's a tablespoon? What's a teaspoon? All that kind of stuff. And then they've got a table of weights and measures for all sorts of things. Graham flour, rice, cornmeal. How many cups is how many pounds, or whatever the case may be. And then here's another interesting thing about it. It was back in the day, and they probably did this to raise money. It was a project they did to raise money, and they expected to do that not only through sales of the book, but through people who bought advertising. And so, as I said, this was published in 1927, so it's a real window into the past. There's all sorts. It starts with the basics: bread, muffins, white bread, yeast rolls, and then here we have an ad for twine, which back then was very important for baling hay and all sorts of other things. And we've got Force whole wheat flakes. Anyways, then we got Boston brown bread, Queen of muffins, cheese biscuits, popovers, all the stuff you'd expect from it was British. Canada was a dominion at that time, and and everything was British. All the products, everything from Cadbury's to Matchbox to all that stuff. So, anyways, yeah. So gold medal flour, which is still around, and it's very interesting, and some of the and they're very well done. I've looked at and I don't want to say studied, but gone over some very old cookbooks, even going back to 13 colonies days and early colonial times. So, anyways, it's just like reading a foreign language. You have no idea what they're talking about. But here, everything's good, and they've got Scotch shortbread, chocolate pudding, pudding sauces, donuts, fried cakes. It's absolutely everything. Dishes for lunch, corn custard, macaroni with bacon. Here, let's take a look at this for fun. Spaghetti Italienne for 6 people. That would have seemed to them to be very exotic. 1 cup spaghetti, 2 tablespoons butter, 1.5 cups strained tomato, 2 cups grated cheese, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons flour, 2 slices onion, 3 sweet green peppers, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Break the spaghetti in 1-inch pieces and cook in rapidly boiling salted water, blah, blah, blah. You're going to melt the butter and the salt and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to make a roux, basically. Then you add the tomato juice and let it thicken. Then you mince the onion and add to the sauce. Add spaghetti and 3/4 of the cheese, also pepper cut in thin strips. Pour into a baking or casserole dish. Sprinkle cheese over top and bake in moderate oven until top is golden brown. So really, it's a spaghetti bake. So, but anyways, just to give you an idea of, and they got everything here. So, and there's funny stuff here. Look at this. Don't lose your clothes. Mark them with Kash's woven names. Like you used to have to put in your stuff when you went to camp. Mom had to sew it on. Anyways, yeah, that brought back some very fond memories for me. And if you're not interested in this, in the description, I'll put the timestamp for when the kit review actually starts. But for 1927, it's in excellent condition. It's not perfect or pristine, but like I say, being a history buff myself, this is really an invaluable piece of Canadiana. So, anyways, maybe that'll find its way to some university when I'm gone, instead of the local used bookstore. Okay, so what's up next? So yeah, we did the shout-outs, talked about that, and I'm not going to get political about the empire. But in many ways, in many times, in many ways, for me, anyways, particularly the Dominion and Commonwealth times were very good times for Canada. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So here we got something a little different. And next week, next week, I have something else really different coming along the same, kind of in the same category. So I've been looking for Floatplane. I got the ski plane, what's it called? The Gloucester Gladiator, Russo-Finnish War version, and I got an otter, a Revell 172, I think it is, otter, a twin otter. That's a Floatplane. Wasn't a great kit, but it's okay. Anyways, so so I was just looking around and I saw, oh, this is kind of different and interesting. So it's a 148 Nakajima A6M2 N, I guess that stands for Navy, type Floatplane. The fighter version, which the code name was Rufe. We'll get into that shortly. So it's Tamiya kit number 61017. The kit cost me about $35. I said $35.75, something like that. $36, say. And on the side here, it shows a picture of one of the paint schemes, along with the one of the figures. This kit was tooled in 1973. So it really is what I consider a vintage kit, and it's certainly. We'll see, but just like the Zero, it's a good solid basic kit that'll be fun to put together, I wouldn't have, and it comes with two figures, so I'm always a sucker for that. I guess Tamiya figured that out a long time ago. You sell more kits if you put a figure or two in. Are you listening out there? Or a stand, even. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay, so again, beautiful artwork. And this was designed, first of all, nerds will know A6M2 was also known as the Zero, or Zeke, excuse me, which was designed and built by Mitsubishi. And anyways, when the Navy, when whoever was commissioned the aircraft, on their march, particularly south through the islands and so forth. They didn't, they needed something that they didn't have to spend a lot of time building airstrips for. I mean, that would come, but so anyways, they came up with this. And just like with the Allies, the Nakajima was already manufacturing Zeros. So this is just a Zero floatplane, okay? But it was designed to be a fighter. So, and we'll get into that a bit more. There was also a reconnaissance version called, and it was nicknamed the Pete. This was the Rufe and the Pete. I spoke about how those code names, nicknames came about in my last video, and I'll put up an end screen on it. But it's kind of an interesting story if you don't already know it. And so anyways, so yeah, so here we go. I don't see, sometimes they're sneaky about it, but I don't see a signature here. Although I believe that the Tamiya stuff was almost all hand painted. So, and this came actually in shrink wrap in a Amazon brown envelope, paper envelope thing. It did get squished a bit, so I took the cellophane off because normally that's aftermarket anyways. And Tamiya, and actually I see it was, I believe it, oh no, there was no tape because it was in cellophane. So, which is fine. I'm good either way. I got no problem with no cellophane and just taped. Okay, so here we go. Oh, on the side here we've got a couple other model kits. The interesting one here is the Kawasaki H500 148 helicopter. That's interesting. And they also have the Zero, which I reviewed just the other day, and the Nakajima Hayate, codenamed Frank, which was also a fighter. Okay, so let's get in the box and see what we have here. As I said, not a complicated kit. It's got a little bit more to it than the Zero, actually a fair bit. But we'll take a look here and we'll see. We'll remove these contents. And as always, we get the Tamiya Tech Tips. And in this one, we get a book style instructions in both English and Japanese. So the Japanese ones go in there. And just as with the Zero, they've also included a nice glossy photo, or whatever you want to call it, a glossy sheet. We'll call it a glossy sheet, okay? And with both the white silver as well as the green, IJN green. Okay, so help me out here, people. I'd appreciate it if anybody who's watching knows. In Canada, we can't get Tamiya spray paints anymore. And for the green tone, Tamiya recommends I think it's AS17 dark green. So if anybody knows of another brand that would be equivalent to that, and I don't know whether it's a matte color or a semi-gloss color. Some things I see it's like flat, and others I see it's kind of like a semi-gloss. But that might be because people sprayed semi-gloss on the completed kit. I don't know. Anyways, any help with that I would really appreciate. And so I'll start by reading. I'm not going to read the whole thing. They have quite a long write-up, which is great. And so anyways, so they wanted a fighter that could easily be deployed from a beach, basically, or whatever, an atoll. And I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also, used hoists. Put them on ships and used hoists. To lower them over the side and then pick them up when they landed again. I'm pretty sure they did that. So, anyways, so as I said, just like in the United States, or particularly in the United States, equipment was manufactured by different manufacturers. One case in point is the Willis Jeep, the Jeep that won World War II. So it was a Willis design, and Willis did produce a lot of them, but they simply didn't have the manufacturing capacity in order to fulfill the need. So most of the Willis Jeeps, they were Willis Jeeps, they were Willis design, but they were actually manufactured by Ford. And likewise, Studebaker, it was the same situation with them with their trucks. And I think it was General Motors. I think it was Studebaker and General Motors. So I mean, obviously, when you're at war like this, especially a total war like World War II was, you got to mobilize everything, and everybody got to work together. So, anyways, so that's why it's a 0, but it's a Nakajima 0. As for the rest of it, I'm not going to go into the whole. They go into the whole campaign here, down through the Solomons and so on and so forth. So we'll get back to the instructions in a couple minutes. We'll take a look at the kit now. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good today, aren't I? Yeah, flow's pretty good. Okay, so we'll open this up. We'll get rid of the Hotchkiss fasteners. Have to be careful with those. Cat swallows one of those. Okay, so here we go. And like I say, this is I'm unabashedly a Tamiya guy, and so and I these older kits, they might not be the fanciest things, but they're well engineered. The plastic's good quality. They are they're reasonably priced, very reasonably priced, and also you can usually count on them being proportionally accurate. Yes, there might be raised panel lines when they should be engraved panel lines and things like that. But as far as the actual proportionality of things, for the most part, Tamiya is going to be right on. So, anyways, that's why they call them shake and bake kits. They just go together so beautifully. So, I'm going to start here with this one sprue, and we got the detail level is okay. It's not terrible. There's very little flash. The only flash seems to be on these little nubby things, which are going to clip off anyways. But here's something I talked about scale the other day, and here's something I wanted to look at here. Okay, so I completed and showed this the other day, and it seems to me this guy's a little small. Okay, here is an ICM 148 figure. And here is an Atlantis. Oops. Come on, stop it. And here's an Atlantis figure, 148. And then here, well, this guy's going to have to get clipped off anyway, so might as well. And here's the Japanese guy for this kit. And so I don't know. Maybe is it just me? I don't know. In any case, doesn't really matter. And I understand, you know, the guy'd be bulked up with his flying suit and stuff like that. But anyways, so yeah, that was just something that struck me as a bit odd. Speaking of how good Tamiya is. Okay, and so we just have a minimal kind of cockpit detail here. Get this out of the way. Okay, and so yeah, like I said, no flash, everything good. Oh yeah, we got what, one, two, three regular sprue bags and one clear parts. So, and yeah, and so you get two figures here. You get a sitting pilot or a standing guy. I'm probably gonna use this guy in another diorama that's going to be with the thing that's coming soon. Okay, next. I'm not going to bother opening this. It's pretty obvious. It's a one piece. Again, there's decent detail here. You know, if you really wanted to, you could you know, etch out the panel lines. There's enough there, and they are recessed. And so there you go. Clear parts, again, they'll stay in the bag. We have the option of both open and closed canopies, and they're absolutely flawless with no flash. Then we have the final sprue rack or tree, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And then we have the side floats. There's a cart that it sat on. You can see here a little cart that it sat on, so it could be pulled in out and put in the water. And yeah, there's a couple bombs here. These wouldn't have been very fast, and they'd be better than nothing. But they'd be, they'd have no chance against a wildcat or whatever. Anyway, so and then we have the fuselage and the floats, the main float, the central float, and again, I'm seeing no flash whatsoever. The floats have panel lines, recessed panel lines. Can you see some of those there? And likewise with the fuselage, there's a little bit of flash up top here, but that's kind of stuff you're going to want to trim anyways. And just the usual bit of cleanup, especially for fuselage. And from the videos I've seen on the build, the fuselage is perfect. It just goes together perfect. As you'd expect with Tamiya. Okay, now more staples. That's okay. Okay, here we go. All right, and we get a nice decal set. Looks like more than we need. So lots of excuse me, lots of red dots. Sorry about that. I had a frog in my throat and I had to spit him back to Bridget. Anyways, yeah. So you get a decal, and I think I saw the part that this goes on. It's flat. So a lot of people would they would sand that down. I mean, some might paint it, do it by hand. That's too small for me. So it's a nice flat surface to go on to. Yeah, and you've got like what do we got? We got three different, actually four different versions. 5th Air Corps, Yokosuka Air Corps, AC Tender, 2 types. So yeah, and they're the usual Tamiya decals, whatever you want to call them. I like them. Some people don't. Some people think they're too thick. I guess they can buy aftermarket stuff then. Don't get me wrong, Cartograph is great, and Water Slide's good too. I don't know if these are Water Slide brand or if they or if Tamiya just does their own. I don't know about that. Okay, instructions. Okay, so this isn't a complicated kit, like I said. Okay, yeah. So here we start with the seat, the cockpit, bombs, and the ladder, and then assembling the motor. Again, not complicated. This would be a great starter kit, just like the Zero. Then there's assembling the cart, assembling the floats, putting the cockpit in the fuselage, cementing the fuselage, putting in the engine on the nose. Get your seated pilot, goes in here. There you go. And then you put the wings on and the rear stabilizers. And I think with this one, if you're going to display it in like sitting on the cart, you're probably going to want to put a weight in there. I didn't see if that was in the instructions, but I think you probably want to put a weight in there to keep the nose heavy. And there is a little stand just for the cart. Oh, not for the cart. Maybe it is the cart. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to have it hanging down from the pontoon like that. So yeah, there's like so the cart runs back like that, and there's a little stand. And yeah, and so then we've got the two options for the windscreen, and then pitot goes last, and the propeller, and then there's gives you detail on how to paint the engine, although you can't see very much of it once it's in there, but even so, it's it's a very simple engine assembly. So if you want to sex it up a bit, you can certainly do that. I will do that. Am I allowed to say that? Anyways, which is different from putting a lipstick on a pig. Anyways, so yeah, and then we've got the standing pilot. They didn't show you how to paint the sitting guy. They show you how to do the standing guy because they're probably the same. I would expect so. And that's it. And then the next couple pages here are all about decaling and painting. And this is nice. They give you the early scheme, the late scheme, additional painting notes. So all in all, an impressive package as far as I'm concerned. Excuse me. I don't think I'd want to pay more than $40 for this, which is like I guess 18 pounds, something like that. When I say dollars, I mean Canadian dollars. I'm here in the post-colonial backwater of Canada. Okay, here we go. Okay, so time to rate the kit. I use a 12-point system. It's 10 basic points, up to 2 points for packaging, up to 2 points for the sprues, up to 3 points for the parts, and up to 3 points for the instructions. I also allow a quarter point bonus for each of those 4 categories, which brings the total to 11. And that would be for any wow factors, like, is there like 2 figures, right? Which is, really good. So anyways, and then I also allow for up to a full point for what I call value. And that's not just is it a cheap kit or whatever, but it's kind of the quality of the kit. How many hours of fun and entertainment are you going to get out of it based on the cost? All those kind of little other things. So for this today, I debated, packaging 2 points. I debated giving it a quarter point extra bonus because the artwork is beautiful. Oh, speaking of which, that's the green I'm talking about there. Can you see that, guys? You probably know what color it is I'm talking about anyway. So, yeah. So, and the artwork is fabulous, but all Tamiya's artwork is fabulous. So, anyways, so 2 points there. For the sprues, of course, everything was complete. There was no flash in any bad or weird places, or hardly any at all. There were no molding bubbles, nubs, recesses, ejection pin marks, anything like that. So that gets a full 2 as well. There were a couple things, so it didn't get an extra quarter point bonus. Just very small things. As for the parts, that's 3 1/4. The quality of plastic was excellent. The detail was good. Um, the quality of the figures was good. They were very nicely detailed, and I expect that they'll paint up nicely. Um, some people like to put figures together. Other people like the whole thing. I don't mind putting figures together, although depending on the manufacturer, they can be a real challenge. Um, I mean, for what this kit is, no problem as far as that goes. So 3.25 points there. And for the instructions, again, 3.25 points. Um, I'd give more because they did not just the service history notes, but a full history of the not only the aircraft itself, but the development of the strategy and the various campaigns and everything. So, if you're really interested in that kind of stuff, it's a good read. So, yeah. So then the instructions were laid out beautifully. They were easy to understand. Um, as always with Tamiya, they gave you the different painting options, and then that insert, the glossy insert, is lovely. I mean, shoot, you could put a little frame on that and hang it on the wall, same as the Zero one. Very nice, very impressed. Okay, so yeah, Tamiya, you're doing the right thing. Yeah, Nobu, I'm sure you're going to be a great success, and we miss you. The only person I will call Mr. Tamiya. I think we'll know. I think we know who we're talking about when we talk about Mr. Tamiya. And anyways, yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to splutter on about that anymore. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's just going to run in about 45 minutes. I think I did pretty good with my flow today. And it's been cloudy and cool here today. So my wife made chicken soup. Yay. And we're going to enjoy that. Yeah. Celery from the garden, peas from the garden. Um, what else have we got? Carrots from the garden. Yeah. So, anyways, just yeah, looking forward to that. Okay. So, thanks again to everyone. Thank you for all your attention. Time is valuable, and I appreciate any of it that people spend with me. And I believe I'm up to 625 subscribers now. So, yay! So that's great. Like I say, I'm not a subscriber hound, and uh, the channel will never be monetized. But it's gratifying to know that some people um, find value in what I do here. So, okay. So, thanks again, and we will see you sometime soon with that other kit. Bye now.